How do you deal with a lack of joy in life? You have to, unfortunately, seek it out. I say unfortunately because when you don't have a lot of joy, it's hard to work up the motivation to go looking for it. The great news is that finding joy is within your scope of control, no matter your life circumstances. You just have to look for it. One thing that's helped me is intentionally finding little ways to increase my creature comforts, those inconsequential snippets of joy. Even if my job is running me into the ground or my family members are causing me a lot of stress, here are things I can control and which bring me joy, setting small goals for myself and keeping them. Some of my daily goals are, reading something that's good for me for 30 minutes, exercising for at least 15 minutes, doing yoga for 15 minutes, etc. These are all small things, but at the end of the day I'm able to look back and say that I spent over an hour doing things that are good for me. It brings me joy. Taking time to make good, nutritious food and then taking time to enjoy it. I don't often eat out, and I never eat fast food. Part of that is my dietary restrictions, vegan, but mostly, I find that I don't enjoy that food as much as what I can make myself. You have a whole entire world of cooking available to you, and the satisfaction of surprising myself by nailing a new recipe or finding ways to use up what we have in the fridge brings me a lot of joy. Using your time intentionally. This goes back to goal setting, but I've found that when I plan out my days and follow through on what I say I'm going to do, I feel joy. The great thing is that you can plan your days however you want. The important bit is to be intentional about it. I've had days that included play Red Dead for 5 hours or take a long bath while reading. It doesn't matter how you fill your day, to an extent, but it matters that you're mindful of where your time is going. Using your time intentionally brings joy and helps you feel like you didn't waste your days away. Taking an inventory of yourself. What's sucking the joy away from your life? Find out what's keeping you from enjoying your life more, and learn how to change it. If your job sucks, find out what skills you need to make a career move. If your family sucks, make some hard boundaries to protect yourself from their negativity. If your friends suck, find a hobby that will introduce you to people more on your wavelength. All that being said, if you're doing everything you can to feel more joy and you're stuck, it's probably time to get help. You might be experiencing depression, and if so, it's critical that you take some steps to feeling better. You can start by taking a free depression screening online, and then finding someone to talk to about it. Confide in your doctor, a family member, friend that you trust, or a member of your church if you go to one. If you do have depression, there's treatment options available. All the way from simple talk therapy to ketamine infusions and more. Sometimes it takes a while to find what works best for you, but it's important to keep trying until you find what works best for you. Don't give up. You have a lot of life left to live and give. Take care. Nature hike usually does it for me. Find a good spot and just sit and watch the woods. This. Hammock camping in the woods and fishing. Alone or with friends, it doesn't matter. The better my diet gets, and the healthier I get from it, the more joy I feel throughout the day. Regular diet and regular sleep-wake hours. Exercise every other day, go to art galleries twice a week, hike once a week, go to spas once a month. Escape with some close friends for a weekend to unwind and focus on what's important. That should help. Don't have any friends, unfortunately. Family? Don't get along with them. That's rough. Here's what I would do: go for that trip alone. Take the time to think about what's happening and make a plan on how to fix things in the family. Then you ask them to sit down with you and talk about what's been going on. The most important thing is to repair the core. This means you focus on the people who really matter to you and keep that group relatively small. Most people have 2 to 3 best friends. Get off social media for a bit or unfollow everyone you don't know that well anymore. A good tactic is to have a fixed amount of people you follow and not let that number change. A good way to make friends is not to just walk up to people and talk, but to do things together. Join a sports club or have a gym buddy. Help the neighbor with things and you will see that you start to form relationships with people. Avoid alcohol for a bit and make a schedule to prevent you from spending days alone at home. Try to get up nice and early. Everyone feels like shit if they get up at 1 p.m. and eat healthily. This should be a good begin and you should be back on track before you know it. Good luck, my friend. You got this. Get a dog or find a dog to pet. Side note, since I see pets come up a lot on questions like this, make sure you have the kind of personality that can handle raising a pet. They might be easier to take care of than a child, but they can be a major responsibility, which can just add to stress in your life if you're not ready for it. Started playing music with some friends a few times a week. Got really depressed after leaving college and starting a job that has zero creative aspects, just daily repetitive tasks. That kind of daily monotony can crush your soul. I always suggest that people find some sort of creative hobby, even if you kinda suck at it. Also find people to enjoy that hobby with. I don't really deal with it. I kinda keep it inside, trying to forget it while doing what I have to do. Every once in a while it comes back, I feel depressed for a few days and then keep going. It's sad but the truth. I actually think the only thing that keep me going is the hope of a massive change that will by miracle happen to me. Just stop caring too much about life. Sometimes, it is life that will take you places, so you gotta just trust it. Think about the last thing that brought you joy. After the 30 seconds of joy that memory brings, decide that the happiness it provided is worth the effort to either recreate the same event or a comparable one. If it involved other people, call them and be honest. I've been really down for a while, and I was thinking about how awesome fun thing was, and wondered if you would be up for a trip down nostalgia lane. See it through. Don't set the bar of expectations too high, as it's easy to let nostalgia over-amplify how awesome something was. During the recreation, focus on the moment, not what it was like the last time. Let yourself have a good time. Turn your filter off and be real and genuine with people, as long as it doesn't involve hurting their feelings. If you don't like someone, don't invite them. Realize afterwards that part of the fun is being yourself with people who care enough to show up in your time of need. Many of us walk around without recent joy in our lives. Happy and sad are not black and white concepts. There are degrees of these emotions, and sometimes you overlook the joy in smaller things. For me, a great cup of coffee with a moment of peace to think about weird ideas is a great sense of joy. Hope you recognize some semblance of joy soon, Redditor. Have a good cry, then get up and continue trying to better my life. This is my current situation. I'm right here with ya. Just finished a good cry, now I'm gonna find something productive to do. Good luck today. You got this. For me, going on hikes, reading books, reading comics, playing a solo board game, ice skating, biking, badminton, if I can find someone to play with, day at the beach once per year, going to library or bookstore, decorating my happy planner. I do want to start learning an instrument or knitting as well, just don't know where to start yet. The above may not interest you at all. If that's the case, find what brings you joy, smiley face. Substitute joy with contentment and just keep up a thought that if you stick it out you might one day regain the ability to feel deeper emotions. Change things. You are the only one who could know what to change. But change things until you feel better. And if you feel stuck, tell yourself it will eventually change by itself. But at least, try. Kind of just go through the motions of existing. Find the little things you can appreciate and make you happy, even if it's extremely silly, like a sunset or the fresh feeling of summer air. There was one summer where I was feeling exceptionally alone and empty. I took the time to listen to music under a nice tree in the park. I was just appreciating how complex life is while I watched blades of grass sway in the wind. Sometimes the best part of my day is smelling the giant rosemary bush on my walk home from work. It's so dumb, but it can really turn my mood around, even if it's just for a few minutes. If I'm in a rut, I'm always looking for things like this because they add up. Think about what will actually make you happy in life. Even something as basic as forming a family or whatever. Figure out what you want and do everything you can to achieve it. No one is just handed a wonderful life. We have to work for the things we want. Hey, I'm sure you have a happy place. If not, then build it. For example, I go to library, but yours could be anything that brings you joy. It really works, buddy. I hope everything gets better in your life. Sending love. Watch funny videos on YouTube. It helps break the negative cycle of thinking that led to being joyless in the first place. I literally will play piano, guitar, bass, uke, dulcimers, etc., for hours a day. I work in a music store. If I'm not repairing or selling, I'm playing them. Going outside, volunteering and meditation. I volunteer walking dogs and it's so rewarding and also a big stress relief. Makes me so happy to go there every week. I usually play video games to deal with it. At least until my girlfriend can hang out, then I focus on her because she's probably the only thing in the world other than video games that make me happy anymore. Sometimes I'll play with my bird, when he'll let me pet him, that is, he's a little angry scrim monster. Aw man, I've been there, that feeling sucks. My brief advice is find a way to be creative and or go find something that you can help someone else with. It seems strange but having a purpose makes a huge difference. One thing I've done when I've felt that way is ask myself, if there were no limits or restrictions on me right now, what would I do? And then when I have an answer, find what would be a first step toward making that happen and do it. Also, as others have mentioned, do something physical. It doesn't have to be grueling. Just taking a walk outside is a good start. I started lifting weights, which would sound totally bizarre if you knew me, and it made a huge difference in my mood. Long story short, try things, find a purpose, something to work towards or a way to help other people. And move your body. Those two things alone will start to move you in a better direction. Also, find someone to talk to when you are feeling low. If you can, find someone to talk to in person. If you want, you can feel free to DM me. I make a batch of bath bombs, wrap them in a box, and give them to my girlfriend. She loves them. Substitute with a constant pursuit of laughter. I'm constantly watching comedy series, panel shows, stand-up. I also look for the funny side of anything that happens. You can't just be happy, but you can definitely force it to an extent. I'm definitely happiest with my friends, so they are my first go-to. But if they're all unavailable, then I find video games are a great way to take my mind off everything and just focus on enjoying myself. Traveling helps, also I think how your mindset is matters a lot. You can always choose to see the brighter side. That's my 2020 resolution, to search for the good in my life. Make a change, whether it's the small stuff, diet, sleep schedule, the way you spend free time, or the bigger things, your job, where you live, your relationship. Be brave, there's no feeling more fulfilling and refreshing than making a good change for yourself. Have a messy room or area? Tidy something. Brains don't like clutter and you'll be surprised at how stressed clutter can make you. I need to spend time near trees and water to feel whole. Living in a desert was rough. Now I'm close to a big river and all the trees. When I'm in a bad mental state, I head to the river for a mental boost. If I'm getting cabin fever, I hop on a train and leave for the day. Sometimes the walls of this town just close in. It was baby steps until things snowballed. I'd try to find the joy in the little things. I had my favorite food for dinner. I saw a gorgeous flower on the walk to school. The weather was nice. I saw a funny meme. It became a bit easier to find joy in larger things and start planning for them from there. I like flowers? I'll go to the park and just spend some time photographing the most interesting blooms I can find. I like animals? Time to feed the pigeons. Or spend a day volunteering at the shelter. It got me out of this rut of self-loathing and I started opening up more. I made friends. I joined a choir. I started learning Welsh. I bloomed. When you can start looking to the future and go, I've got something to look forward to, it'll be okay. When you can't see if it'll ever get any better, reach out. Even if it's to a stranger. You don't have to be alone. Go outside and write a rap song. I do this all the time. It gives me something to focus on besides my lack of joy. Cleaning also helps the mind with this. A beautiful simple question deserves a beautiful simple answer. Add joy to your life. There are lots of little ways, some bigger ways, but mostly I find time to be in nature, to be humbled by greatness, to reconnect with quiet. All the best. I have an app that makes my phone vibrate randomly throughout the day and give me a little message. When it goes off, I think about something I'm grateful for. Usually it's like, I'm glad I have this time with my dog or something, but if I have trouble thinking of something, it can be more like, I'm glad I'm not trying to raise a family in Syria. People would kill to have what I have. I've been doing it for a few months and I'm way happier. It's very simple, you go and find it. If you don't try, then that's probably more a symptom of depression. If you don't know where to look, then consider this: what raises the hair on the back of your neck? I exercise first, I don't even have to be good at it, I just sweat the sadness away. There's quite a lot of science that confirms it works on mobile, so I can't really give you the links, but Wikipedia probably has some info. Walking, running, doing push-ups, anything goes. Otherwise, I write, it also helps reasoning about your problems and seeing them with clear eyes. Lastly, I'd say volunteering has a documented positive effect. You realize that even if your life is not the greatest, you can still be a good person and help others.